she stood there looking at me and she said, "Are you a psychic?" And I said, I don't think so. I don't It's funny because I do not have a legacy of psychics or mediums in my family. You know, I didn't have the crystal ball handed down to me generation after generation. I can remember, and this is only in hindsight because I didn't know it when I was growing up, but I can remember feeling energies in my grandmother's house. I can remember watching TV and feeling like somebody was there watching TV with me. One time I can remember being out in the yard and it was just my grandmother and my brother and I home, and I remember turning and looking up at the attic window and I could see a figure in the attic window. But of course you didn't tell anybody that because, you know, God, they would think you were crazy. And also I have always had a very active imagination. Growing up, the product of an alcoholic and a schizophrenic, you tend to spend a lot of time within. And I always knew early on that I needed to create the world I was going to live in. And come to find out now that that's the whole purpose of life, creating the world you live in. So I knew that as a little girl, but I didn't know that I knew it. I was 32, I believe. I'm 57 now, so I was 32, 33. And I went to take my life. I had done some horrible things. I was a really shitty person. And I went to crash my car into the side of a bridge, and literally my car filled up with this incredible warmth and white light is all I can say. My foot, I could feel my pant leg being pulled off the accelerator, and I heard, "We've got you." And I was pissed because I thought, I don't want to be here anymore. I didn't know where I wanted to be, but I didn't want to be here anymore. And when that happened in 1996, something clicked. Something in me got deeper, got more meaningful. I just started knowing things. I didn't know what I didn't know, so I wasn't labeling anything. But then fast forward, my husband and I were on vacation. I think it was 2006-ish, somewhere. And a woman was walking down the beach. And I said to my husband, she's going to stop here and she's going to talk to us. And she's going to talk a long time. And he looks at me and said, "Okay, you're crazy." Anyway, this woman stopped right in front of us and started talking to me. And I started babbling out stuff about her life. Now, mind you, I was on vacation. I didn't know anybody there. And she stood there looking at me and she said, "Are you a psychic?" And I said, I don't think so. I don't, you know, but I knew all these things about her and I could feel things. So after an hour and a half, she left and my husband said, "What did you just do?" And I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. So I guess it was a slow unveiling of what I now know is a natural piece of us. So it's inherent in all of us. There isn't anybody out there that isn't psychic. And by psychic, I mean having the ability to read energy, to feel energy. You might know that as an empath. There are all kinds of titles you can give it. But the truth is, we just know what we know. The Creator put that mechanism in us. And so I always tell my clients, when you feel like you don't know, just go silent and ask for the manufacturer's setting to be restored. Go back to that basic, I don't know anything, but I know, and trust what you do know. And so I went on to use my psychic gift to help people with their careers. In my career, I used it, and it just got stronger and stronger over time. And the key to it getting stronger was me knowing myself. So the more I knew myself, the stronger my intuition or psychic ability got. People don't understand how psychic they truly are. And I always use the analogy of playing the piano. Everybody can play the piano. Some of us will sit down and clumsily lop at the keys and just bang it out. And then there are concert pianists. And the difference, I believe, is some are trained and some are not. And so depending on how much you work with your psychic ability and how much training you have, depends on how sophisticated your gift will get. Being a medium is much different in a sense than being a psychic. All mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. So when you talk about mediumship, you are talking about the blending or the merging of energies. And it's as if when I work mediumistically, they are talking to me. They are feeding me pieces of information. Pieces of information that are validated by the person sitting in front of me. And I've learned that in order to blend more succinctly, more clearly with the other side, I have to process all of my stuff, because it's very easy to bring your filter into the conversation. And so I must just become the communicator. I have to leave my stuff outside. So that's also an evolution in self-development, which I believe is the crux to this work. Developing yourself, which is why I teach self-development, spiritual development. It's paramount in mediumship work and psychic work. And you know, one of the reasons I got into this work, well, I didn't get into this work, this work got into me. One of the reasons I stay with it and what I'm really passionate about, we're not carnival workers. It's not like, oh, here comes my crystal ball and I'm gonna predict your future. This is serious, life-altering work. And it has helped people heal traumas from their past. It has helped people to open their minds and hearts so that anger has diminished. I have a lot of clients who are psychotherapists, who have tried the traditional, understand clinically the traditional, but have merged with the metaphysical in the sense that they can't find the help in the traditional. So I think that speaks volumes to where we're going with this work. There was a woman named Marla Martinson, and she was a client of mine, and I did a reading for her, and she said to me, "Do you know Channeling Erik?" And I said, "No, I don't know who that is." And she said, "Oh, you need to know Channeling Erik." And I thought, okay. And I just kind of went about my business and I didn't think about it anymore. And she sent me an email and she said, "Did you reach out to Elisa Medhus?" And I said, "No, I forgot," you know, and a couple more promptings from Marla. Finally, I sent Elisa a message and I said, "Hi, I'm Veronica Drake, da-da-da-da-da, this is what I do. Nice to meet you, bye," you know, that kind of thing. And Elisa wrote back almost immediately and said, "Would you like to do a Channeling Erik episode?" And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" You know, and she said, "Oh, it's just a conversation, we'll just talk." Well, yeah, I could do that. So we got together, and it was so funny because it was on Skype, and I didn't know that she was recording it, or if I did, I just didn't pay any attention to it. And so we're just talking, and I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm getting real jazzed up, and I'm going, "Oh my God, I can feel this, and I can feel this," and I'm going on, and she's asking me these questions. And I thought, wow, okay. "Hi, Elisa, nice to meet you." You know, and your son, Erik, I felt him. It was nice. Yeah, cool, that's cool. And that was it. And about 3 or 4 weeks went by, and let me preface this with, I never looked up or researched the Channeling Erik. I just didn't. It was like, I don't know why, I just didn't. And 3 or 4 weeks went by, and I said to my husband, oh man, I must have blown that. I said, because I didn't hear anything. And sure enough, within the next few days, she must have posted it to the blog, because there was a request for 75 to 100 readings in my inbox immediately. And it was just this whirlwind of, oh my God, people like what I did. And then came the haters. Because with the love comes the hate. And the comments, oh my God, talk about crippling. Oh, I can read some of their, this is the best. I got to share one with you, because there's a backstory quickly. So before you see what you see here, I was sick. I was very sickly. I was undiagnosed with diabetes. I had depression, and I had this hair that was, God, when I think back about it. But anyway, one of the comments on the post was, her hair looks like a fucking wet mop. I was like, what the fuck? How could they say that? And now when I watch the videos back, I'm like, oh shit, my hair did look like a fucking wet mop. But at the time, it crippled me. I'm like, dude, I'm not here for you to look at my hair. Listen to my channeling. And I found very quickly that doing this work was going to grow me as a human being. It was going to strengthen me. It was going to push me into all the areas that were uncomfortable, all the areas that hurt. And I want to say, for all the aspiring psychics and mediums out there, get ready, because your shit's going to hit you in the face. And it's going to be for a good reason. So I'm going to be completely honest, completely transparent, completely vulnerable here. I didn't know if I was a medium or not. I didn't. I only knew what I knew, and that was that I heard things, that I felt things, and that I couldn't deliver the message any other way than who I was and who I am. And so I think we get caught up in, oh, it doesn't sound like him, or he would never say it like that. But the truth is, a great medium understands that people will hear things in different ways, and the way that it's said, with the tone and the inflection and the personalization of the message, might just be why the spirit is using that particular medium. It took me a long time, because I think you will be hard-pressed to find any medium that isn't terrified of being called a fraud. And I was the first person to call myself a fraud. I thought, listen, I have no vested interest in this. I don't, what the hell? Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe they're right. But I wasn't saying it from a place of, oh, they got me. Because and Elisa will tell you this. I quit. I walked away. I was like, I don't need this shit. I walked away, but I now know that I walked away because I had to process myself. It had nothing to do, but yet it had everything to do with the comments, because had they not pushed that and said she's a fraud, she this, she that, I wouldn't have been able to excavate and do my soul work to the depth that I did. And forget all of this, forget everything. The whole purpose we're here is to align our personality with our soul. And so the frauds, the haters, thank you. Because you just made me stronger. And am I a fraud? I don't. There are still days where I go, maybe I am. I don't know. I think I have enough validation for the thousands of readings I've done and the accuracy that, I can believe in myself, but yet there are still days where I go, you're a fraud. I always say this, I'm a great psychic. I'm an okay medium. We're always evolving, you know, as human beings. We're here to grow, you know, and people will say to me, you know, what's my purpose in life? Why am I here? You know, and the answer to that is you're here to create your life. You're here to just define the meaning of your own life. If you look at the word, one of the words we use for God, and God, I want to preface this with the God of your understanding. I'm not like throwing religious at you. But if you look at one of the labels we use for God, we use the Creator. There's no coincidence in that. The Creator created us in His image. And if we're created in His image, aren't we creators? Isn't it that we are here to create our life and not discover it? People are always saying, who am I really? Why am I here? What's my purpose? I feel so lost. I feel so disconnected. Well, you've forgotten how to create your life. Change. People get freaked out when things change. Having grown up in the environment I did, I always had to be on my toes. I had to be a quick thinker. And as a result, I love change. If I get stagnant, I'm lost. I'm constantly moving. Ask my husband, he comes home, the furniture's in a different place every other week. So any kind of change is good. But God is change. And if you need proof of that, look how the acorn becomes the oak tree. Look how the seasons gently and sometimes not so gently swoop in on us. Look how the tides roll in and out. God is change. And change requires process. It's the process of creating yourself that brings about the change. And therein, I think, is the secret to life. So again, I've studied with some really prominent teachers. I've studied how mediumship works, why it works, and what I understand mediumship to be is communication with the mind. So the mind is energy. The brain is different than the mind. When we die, the brain dies. The brain's an organ. The mind is energy. And so we have 3 levels to the mind. We have the logical mind. Don't touch the hot stove. Don't walk in front of the bus. The logical mind. Then we have the subconscious mind, which is where all of our belief systems are housed, every experience we've ever had, and our psychic senses, what we might call the clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience. And then we have the superconscious part of the mind, which is the soul. And so when we work psychically or mediumistically, we are working with the subconscious mind and the superconscious mind. So everything that's transmitted, if you will, comes in through the mind. Now, there are certain aspects of mediumship where people will see apparitions or apparitions. I'm not even versed in the language because I don't understand all of that. But I can tell you, in my mind's eye, I can see things. I can explain to you what Grandpa Joe looked like in 1942, right down to that he wore suspenders and he had a handlebar mustache. And so I get to see these things. But it's not like they're standing in the room with me. They're in the mind's eye. Honestly, I ask myself the question, what's so special about him? How do I even really know it's him? How am I going to tell? And I went through this whole dialogue of like, I don't know, you know, and then I heard in my mind's eye, it doesn't matter who it is. It matters for people who are tuning into Channeling Erik, that it be Erik, right? I never experienced Erik the way I've experienced him over the last year. I got really pissed off at him and I quit And I walked away because I felt like I'm not as good as the other ones. And Erik found me, connected to me in a deep way. And I'll tell you how. It's a funny story, actually. I was on a cruise, and it happened to be that this place I was cruising to, you never saw dolphins. The crew just was like, you just don't see dolphins on this cruise. Not going to happen. I'm like, okay. So I had just resigned from channeling Erik before I went on that cruise. I said to Erik, you know what? I'll make you a deal. If you don't want me to resign, I want to see a school of dolphins. I don't mean one dolphin. I want a school of dolphins. So I get on the cruise. This was a 10-day cruise. And this is like day 2 on the cruise. So I'm on the cruise and no dolphins. And I'm looking and I'm going in my head, see, there's no dolphins. I can resign, right? So a couple days later, I'm in the stateroom and my husband's out on the balcony. And you could see the water from the balcony, but I was reading a book and my husband was sitting outside. Now, my husband had no idea that I had this conversation with Erik. And the conversation with Erik was, I'll stay if you show me a school of dolphins. So I'm on the bed and I'm looking out and I'm reading my book and my husband goes, V, come here, hurry up, you gotta come here. I said, what? He goes, look at the school of dolphins, oh my God. Even now the hair on my arms is standing up, and I remember saying, you little shit. And he said to me, I told you you're not going anywhere. And just the hair on my arms. And I said, yeah, but people don't think I'm doing you, and they don't think. And he said, fuck people. Fuck people. You do you, he says. And then I said, all right. So I sent an email. I think I sent an email to Elisa right from the ship or something. And I don't know if she sent something back saying, yeah, I told you so, or something like that. Because she was like not letting me go. I'm like, fuck, she won't let me go. This woman won't let me go. And I was like, why? But that was all my doubt. That was self-worth stuff coming up. Yeah, it's like, okay, so let me just share this with you. When Erik is with me, I always call him a pain in my ass because he shows up at the most inopportune times. When Erik is with me, I always know because he's on my right side always, and he fills up my ear. Like you have to go like this, like he takes over this space and my ear gets really, really full. Almost like you have to, like you have water in your ear. And that's how I know it's Erik. I know it. Other energies that I work with have other specific feelings. But I'm honest to tell you, I didn't know that at the beginning. I didn't know if it was Erik or Joe Blow. I just knew to trust, but that's how I stayed working with channeling Erik.